the Department of Homeland Security employs 260,000 men and women across 22 different agencies. Those agencies include 63,000 men and women who work for CBP, 60,000 who work for TSA, 22,000 for FEMA, 18,000 who works for USCIS, almost 50,000 civilian and military employees with the United States Coast Guard, 7,800 Secret Service employees, 2,500 CISA employees, and over 8,000 agents and analysts with the Department of Homeland Security investigation who perform a crucial function to protect and serve this country. This second government shutdown, led by my friends on the Democrat side of the aisle, will leave our country less safe. Don't just take my word for it. Let's look at the words of the Biden administration. President Biden and Kamala Harris, Department of Homeland Security, in September of 2023, as the nation faced a potential government shutdown, they issued a fact sheet. That fact sheet is entitled "The Impact of Government Shutdown on the DHS Workforce." This fact sheet says this. It says DHS workforce is comprised of extraordinary public servants who safeguard this nation. It goes on to say any lapse in federal funding would disrupt this vital work, leaving Americans less safe as a result. Those working without pay include law enforcement, conducting such acts as seizing illegal narcotics like fentanyl, combating child exploitation and child predators, identifying and arresting human trafficking, responding to natural disasters, preventing cyber attacks, and protecting U.S. government leaders. And so I ask you, gentlemen, as we are once again on the verge of a shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security, if the Democrats take us to the edge, if they refuse to sign a CR, if once again the men and women who serve under your leadership, if they are once again not paid, I ask you, how will that impact our nation? Will America be more safe, or will America be less safe if we are once again led into a government shutdown by the Democrat Party? Mr. Scott.
I believe consistency and seeing support from the leadership of on both sides of this building and the president is very important to border security. I think the rhetoric and the back and forth, the politicizing of law enforcement in general detracts from the general morale of our personnel.
Is it not important that we pay the men and women who serve under your command?
It's critically important.
And in a government shutdown, the bills don't stop, do they not? The bills continue to accrue.
Correct.
And the deployment of technology ceases in many cases, and America becomes less safe. Would you agree with that statement?
I would agree America becomes less safe.
Mr. Edlow, what about you?
Well, Congressman, as I'm sure you're aware, USCIS is a little different in that we are fee-funded. So during a shutdown, the men and women working for USCIS will continue to be paid. However, in terms of our screening and vetting enterprises, as well as everything else we do, we have formed very, very strong working relationships with the other components, and that's critical for us to be able to do our work. While we may be there able to continue without our partners being paid and with them being furloughed, it's going to make America significantly less safe.
And Mr. Lyons.
Yes, sir. It will have a great impact, especially on the Homeland Security task forces and the men and women that are focused on the transnational crime and foreign terrorist organization.
Mr. Lyons, very quickly, we've had many members of this committee who have made allegations. The Democrats have once again taken the mantle of the party to defund the police and abolish ICE. Do you wish to take my last few seconds to speak about the consequences that has on the men and women that you serve?
The men and women of ICE are sworn law enforcement officers who are dedicated to do their mission to protect the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I now recognize a gentleman from California, Mr. Correa, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to welcome our witnesses today. Gentlemen, wanted to start out by talking a little bit about my district, Southern California, Disneyland. Southern California is the center of manufacturing for the United States. California, biggest ag state in the union. California, also, big donor, taxpayer dollars to the United States. President Trump got elected on the promise to deport the worst of the worst. Your numbers, Mr. Lyons, less than 14% of those arrested by ICE first year, 2025, had charges or convictions of violence. 70% of those deported had not even a traffic ticket. Mr. Lyons, I think we're all patriots, but I'm trying to figure out how, this is a question to you, sir, how deporting a nanny makes our nation safer, stronger, how trying to deport the father of 3 Marines make this country stronger, how deporting the parents of a number of Marines at Camp Pendleton makes this nation stronger.
Sir, thank you for your welcome, first off. Just to address your, the numbers with the 14%, sir, that's 14% that are listed as violent criminal felonies. However, what's left out of that is the fact that what's left off that list.
Those
is human trafficking.
70% that don't have a traffic ticket
Sir,
and deported, how has that made our nation stronger?
Sir, if you look at what ICE has done, more than 60% of every individual that is in ICE custody has a pending or a conviction on a criminal charge. Not to count.
Sir, let me move ahead. I only have 3 minutes, and we'll talk later.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about American citizens. Again, back home. Young people asking me, what do I have to carry with me so I won't be deported? Is, Mr. Lyons, carrying a passport, is that enough so they won't be detained or deported in my district?
Sir, an American citizen shouldn't carry or shouldn't feel the need to carry.
Let me tell you what some of your ICE agents have done. They pulled over a gentleman in a pickup truck, showed his passport, they threw it to the side, detained him. What do we have to do to show that we're American citizens?
Sir, no
What do we
American
have-
citizen falls under Title VIII. No American citizen will be arrested for being an American citizen.
But you
or
just
deported.
said to my colleague that nobody has been fired because of violations of the law for disciplinary actions, yet this is happening in my district. Mr. Lyons, we're a very boring district. We work hard, mind our own business. ICE in our streets now. People are terrorized. American citizens. Number of cases of Americans being detained, being taken in, some being held for 5 days. Sir, what do we do with those people in that situation? What do we tell them?
Sir, I don't know of any particular case that you're speaking of American citizen being held.
I'm more than happy to provide you a list, sir.
100%, sir.
So let me ask you, sir, are you surveilling U.S. citizens today?
No, sir.
Those people protesting, practicing this First Amendment right, photos of them, data taken, they're not being placed in any kind of a database?
There is no database for protesters, sir.
One of your officers in Maine said to one of the individuals protesting, we're going to put your face in a little database. What does that mean? Do you have a little database
No, sir.
of Americans?
No, sir, we don't.
Then what do you think your ICE agent was doing to this individual when he said those statements?
I can't speak for that individual, sir, but I can assure you there is no database that's tracking United States citizens.
Sir, California, we're a sanctuary state. Does that cause you a problem picking up individuals?
Yes, sir.
I have with me today some data from Sheriff Barnes, Orange County Sheriff, very good friend. He's been here to testify numerous times. For 2025, he referred about 300 individuals for your office to pick up. 250 were picked up, 50 were never picked up. We had a long conversation saying, what is going on? If these are the worst of the worst, you've called ICE to pick them up and you didn't pick them up. Can you explain to us why you didn't pick up all these individuals that were referred to your office to pick up?
Yes, sir. That's the key part of that is the referral. We make sure that those individuals are eligible to be placed in detention and for movability. So
You
in that
never
case, it would be
even
a
looked
breach-
at
Gentleman's
those
time is-
individuals.
Gentleman's time.
I would like to talk to you about this issue later on, Mr. Lyons.
Gentleman's
Thank you very
time
much.
has expired. I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Fluger, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Why are we here? And I think it's pretty clear that until proven otherwise, at 5 years of experience, that it seems like one side of the aisle is in favor of open borders and wants to abolish ICE. And I hope that that can be proven wrong. And the other side of the aisle wants to enforce the laws that are on the books. Commissioner Scott, how many administrations have you worked for in your career?
Since the Clinton administration?
So multiple Republicans and multiple Democrats.
Correct.
Is it a crime to enter this country illegally and to skip a notice to appear, to skip a court-ordered appearance, and to not comply with the laws that are on the books?
Yes, sir.
Has that changed since you started working for President Clinton?
No.
So I can't imagine establishing the fact that it is a crime to skip a notice to appear. We had 10 to 12 million people who entered this country illegally in the Biden administration. As a conservative estimate, there are sanctuary cities all throughout the United States who have said, we will not comply with federal laws. That's why we're here today. I can't imagine being a DHS officer, an ICE officer, and being threatened with violence, having death threats, being doxxed, having your family identified, putting that on the internet, and violently telling you that they are going to kill you because you are enforcing the laws that are on this book that were passed by both sides of the aisle in this body. Director Lyons, how many of your agents are being doxxed, threatened, or harassed?
We've had over 8,000% increase on death threats.
You know, I'm in the middle of working a bipartisan domestic terrorism working group with another member on this committee.